use our degrees to use that craft, exercise those giftings. And maybe your story is like mine, and you laid down nursing to be a stay-at-home mom for a while, but still want to be in health and wellness in some way. You have that nursing heart. Or maybe you're burnt out on full-time nursing and desire to go part-time or per diem and use your giftings and calling in another stream of income. How to pursue your purpose with passion when things are chaotic. How do we do this? What are the first steps, the next steps, and the practical to-dos? Well, lean in to part 2 of this conversation with Kari Davis, as we will not only talk about this, but also finish hearing her traumatic testimony and how to overcome grief and trauma as a mom and live holistically well, right there in the middle of the mess. Mama, it's time to get filled up. Let's go. Hey Mama, are you overwhelmed by your full, blessed life? Do you feel stuck in the messy, mundane middle? Then I'm so glad you're here to take a breath. Hey, I'm Shan, RN, holistic wellness coach, and a mom to 4 that went from perfectionism, control, and lots of anxiety to intentionally living through simple solutions and so much peace. If you are done with the stressed out life, hot mess express type of motherhood, then heat up that coffee again and let's live holistically well in the middle. Let's go.
And like you're usually looking at your life. You can't see me, but I've got my hand up to my nose. Like you're looking at the canvas of your life up so close you can't see it. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, God really like stepped me back. And I just went, oh my gosh, as I'm working on him, this is why I'm grounded in my faith. And I was given godly parents that have taught me that death is dead in Jesus Christ, that this is not the end. This is why I have, there was just certain things that happened at that time where his mother, he was an only child, his mother lived right by me. There was so many provisions of God that I could see in that moment. And I just was so like, I just didn't want, we have a lot of unbelieving family, especially on his side. And I just did not want everyone to blame God and to think like, how would a good God take this dad of 3 little kids? And so it really spurred me on to be more bold than I had ever been. I was a natural introvert. I sang at church, but I hid behind my piano and was just not very outspoken. But I did a lot of personal development. I say that like, it's nasty when that caterpillar becomes a butterfly. They have to go through a lot of like self-digestion. That chrysalis to become a butterfly is gross. It's hard. It's hard work. I had to do some marriage counseling by myself. I had to do a lot of personal development, learn a lot of boundary setting that I didn't necessarily get at the local church level. I think sometimes the local church, they kind of expected me to still be who I was and still serve in ways that I used to. And I was just not that person anymore. If I did not take good care of myself in that moment, I knew that I was not going to be okay. My kids were little. They were like crying in their beds every night. I mean, it was awful. I wrote down on a piece of paper, and maybe this will be a book one day, or maybe it should have been the podcast, but it was like beautiful chaos. I went up to my counter and just wrote down those words, because despite how chaotic things were and, people kind of came out of the woodwork, there was a lot of spiritual warfare going on. It was just not a good time. And it was also a beautiful time where my kids just understood heaven in ways that I didn't. Like we went to the cemetery and I said, do you guys want to say anything to Dad? And they were like, why would I say something to Dad here? If I want to talk to Dad, I talk to God. He's with God. And I was like, oh yeah, well, in the movies, they say something at the cemetery. I didn't know, So I think just the passion that I have for women taking holistic self-care of themselves is because I know that when life gets derailed, when a kid gets sick or a husband gets sick or you lose a parent or you're just caught in the chaos of every day of just kids needing to eat 3 times a day, it's just a lot. And if we do not have those foundational ways to know who we are, to know who God is, to know what God thinks about us, and to honestly take care of ourselves in ways that are gifts from Him, that He did not create us to burn the candle at both ends. He made us that we need rest. I love the book Sacred Rest by Sandra Dalton Smith. Just like all the different parts of your brain that need rest. When I met my husband Bobby in 2018, I had really done a lot of healing and just like work on myself. But then finding love again kind of opened all of those worms again of just like, blending a family, and we needed to move because he was divorced and had to live close to his family. Blending our families and starting my business. I've had a doTERRA essential oil business since right before he passed away. It was kind of one of his provisions, was to give me this outlet and this passion to teach about God's provision through plants, and to have a business that I could work as much or as little as I wanted. When I had little kids, we would travel around when I was a single mom and teach classes and get oils on people. And so I needed to pivot that business when I got married. And it kind of was like this big question mark again. But I've really learned to just kind of sit in those times now where things feel uncertain, and always just go back to those provisional thoughts that I had of God, even when I was looking at that tapestry of my life. It's like, I'm very tempted to get caught in overwhelm and do and just like making myself rest and waiting for God to open doors rather than me always trying to like crack them open. And so that's the podcast. It's just a lot of holistic health mindset shifts to get rid of a lot of toxic thoughts, set good boundaries. We talk about motherhood because I just think that the next generation, them taking care of themselves in ways that we didn't maybe are just so important. But I just really have a heart for that woman who's at home with littles, or life has been derailed and she's just not taking care of herself in a way that is just necessary, that you truly cannot take care of other people if you're not, if your foundational needs are not being met.
Yeah. How did you learn that in your season of grief? How did you learn how to holistically care for yourself and your children who are grieving? That's a bell, another bell, but not because someone else needs you, because you need you. If you're a nurse, caregiver, healthcare professional, always helping others and not ever helping yourself, now is the time to take a look at your own stress level. What is stress doing to your body internally, externally? How is it coming out? Where is your stress? And are you headed to burnout? Are you already in burnout? Don't ignore the signs and symptoms that are coming up all the time because you're caring for others and not yourself. Our stress builds, and then one day we realize we're in burnout. And that is why I'm offering you a free stress assessment call. This is a short, personalized session, one-on-one, where we're going to uncover your current stress level, what's actually causing it, and your next best step to get relief. You don't have to figure this out alone. You don't have to wonder, am I in burnout? You don't have to wonder if I'm headed there fast. Go right now to bit.ly/stress assessment call. Let's catch the stress before it leads to burnout. Go now and book your call today.
Well, it's funny. Our mutual friend, Melissa Armstrong, when we were talking a little bit about this, I would go on walks, and at the end of this canal, I live in Southwest Florida, I would just stop and scream. And she was like, well, who taught you how to do that? Like, that's a somatic practice. Like you're getting that energy out. Who told you to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just did it because I needed to scream. I needed to explode. But, when you're in natural wellness too, there's just so many tools that I have at my fingertips. My company had released a whole aromatherapy line that year for your emotions. And so Forgive and Console were 2 blends that I would just use a lot, like taking my supplements. So a lot of it was this business that God had just given me right before my whole world kind of exploded. And through counseling, I had a really hard time saying no to people before that. And
Mm.
when it was necessary to say no, I just realized how much my pride had gotten in the way, that I did not like to be the one needing help. I liked the olden days where I was the one helping and picking up other people's kids and
Yeah.
watching out all the kids and going to softball to help everybody for the church softball league, to watch all the kids. It was just, it was a pride thing that I really had to learn, that I was getting so much of my identity based on my works and everything that I did for other people. And I did not like when I couldn't do all of that and had to ask for help. And so
Yeah.
I remember making a checklist, and I still use it to this day. I'll still post it on Instagram every once in a while. It's been a while, but it was like, did you eat today? Have you looked in the mirror, at all? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you taken your supplements? Have you prayed? Like I was so in emergency zone for so long. My cortisol was so high that I would truly not think about my basic foundational needs.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you need to set yourself a little reminder in your phone to pop up. I mean, truly, like I would find my breakfast in the toaster at like 1 that I was supposed to eat in the morning. I was like intermittent fasting before it was cool, but just because I didn't make time to eat. And I will say this was obviously an awful time of life and a time of emergency, but it wasn't that different than what I did before life had been derailed and I was just busy being a mom. It wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
different. I had been surviving like that for a really long time, just kind
Mm-hmm.
of answering the phone, talking to friends, planning play dates, and like not taking care of myself, just not being a priority. I just wanted to be a mom so bad that I think that I just focused on them. And I think a lot of moms get stuck in that, even if there's not something terrible that's happened. I think we just get stuck in being busy. And now I think with Pinterest and Instagram, we're a little bit more, it's more in our face to take care of ourselves. Did you get stuck in kind of that putting yourself last?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it is in our face more to take care of yourself, but there's also, I think it goes back to what you were saying about your identity, and you were working out of doing things for everyone else because you were getting your worth from your works and what you were doing for other people. And it was so hard to
Mm-hmm.
ask for help. So that's where I
Mm-hmm.
found myself as a recovering perfectionist and a high achiever. Is I was so used to doing all this stuff for everyone and having, I mean, mine was, yeah, just a season of motherhood and a change. And it was 3 kids. And I was, I think I'm having postpartum anxiety. I had to ask for help. Yeah, we look at these things like Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook, and we're like, oh my gosh, like you were saying before, I need to do this. I should do this. I should do this. And we add all these things to our to-do list that are not for us. They're not for our family. They're not for our kids. They're not based on our identity. They're not based on our purpose and our calling and what God has for us, but we think that we have to. And so we fill our schedule. Very simply, we can just say sports. Like we can just say we feel like our kids, once they get a certain age, they need to do all these sports. And so then we fill our schedule with activities and
Mm-hmm.
practice and games. And I think we so often just look at this idea of what motherhood should be, whether we've idolized it or we've looked at other people's motherhoods, and we try to live up to that. And it's not what God has for us.
Mm-hmm. And I also think that I had kind of an entrepreneurial spirit that was not being fed.
Yeah.
Um, and it was kind of a hard part with me and TJ. When I started doTERRA, he was kind of like, he really loved that he allowed me or that he made enough that allowed me to stay at home, and was just like, are you starting a business? And I'm like, well, it's starting me. People keep asking me about what I'm using. I just loved it. So I think a part of why I was like volunteering at church and volunteering at the kids'
Mm-hmm.
school and planning the birthday parties and all of the things was because I had this creative side.
Yeah.
And I think I would have probably done better working about part-time when my kids were little.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit unfulfilled in ways that I only wanted to be a mom my whole entire life. And I didn't think that I did in the moment. But once I started working and was really motivated by kind of like I could make this whatever I wanted, it really helped me settle into some purpose that I think I was kind of starved for. I think that I was putting a lot of pressure on the kids and different things that it was just kind of filling this creative side of me that I wanted to
Yeah.
scratch that itch.
So again, so similar. That is one thing. Oh my gosh, that story of starting doTERRA and all of that. So I always wanted to be a mom. And so I had the opportunity once we moved to the Midwest and to only live off of one salary. And I was like, but I gotta keep my hands busy and I'm so creative and I love, and so like people asked me, you should make this, you should sell this. And so he's like, you are you really gonna do this? I mean, the second kid is only 6 months, and I thought we were, you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom. I am a stay-at-home mom, but they nap,
Yeah.
you know. And so
Yeah.
I didn't know that was starting my entrepreneur journey. I just started an Etsy shop, and I had no idea that was like leading me into this using my creativity and my gifts. And so I think that yes, there's so much. That is one of my big messages for moms. It's like, yeah, you probably should be doing something other than just taking care of your kids and mothering because you have so many gifts, talents, and abilities, and God wants you to multiply them. He doesn't want you to bury them. That's a whole parable. And so he wants you to go out and do it. It might be going out. It might be staying home and doing it on the computer and like at nap time. It might be, mine was, like I said, started with an Etsy shop. So I was always using my hands and stitching and creating things with my hands, but I couldn't like do it while I'm nursing a baby. Like there were certain things that were hard. I'm like, okay, I should have rethought this in the beginning. So it's kind of on the back burner right now. But when I started in this new health and wellness job, I was like, oh, I just have to use my phone and I can do that while I'm nursing a baby. And I perfected that. So God using your gifts, talents, and abilities that he's given you and you're creative, because we're all creative because we're made by the creator in the season that you're in and not
Yeah.
neglecting who you are because you have these kids that, hey, by the way, also have gifts, talents, abilities, and they've been made unique, and their identity is what you as a mom have the responsibility to call out and call up and have them live in their identity, but you have to first do it for you. Like you have to be the example. And that's what I want a lot of moms to know. Like you weren't made to be a mom. That's not your identity. It's not. It's so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it didn't mean that I wasn't grateful for those things. Part of it is just connection. It's lonely when you're home with kids all day long. You can only talk on the phone so much and life coach your friends for free and get life coached. And it just spurred that feeling that I kind of knew what we all were struggling with, that communal response to everything that we were going through. And so that's the fun stuff to talk about on the podcast.
What is a tip that you have on how to do it practically? Like what is maybe a tool that you use or a strategy to not have that mom guilt come up because you just spent 2 hours helping a client work on their health and their wellness while your kids were napping, or maybe even they were playing outside and you spent that time working with a client or working on your craft and your skill and your job, but even how to manage all of it. Like how do you help people manage all of that?
Well, I think the first part, I do a program called the Passion Pursuit. It's kind of like a branding, like getting really clear on your business program. And I think the biggest hard part for moms is admitting that they're starting a business. It's like we try to do it in secret, or we don't really want to tell anyone, God forbid if it's in network marketing, because then you have to deal with that whole like misconception. And so just telling your family, this is my work time, and teaching your family how you need to be treated. Because I think sometimes they expect that we're available to them at all times. It's funny because it's 2:45 right now in Eastern time. So my high schoolers will be coming home. And it took me years for them even to see that when the doors close, they're not welcome to come in, even when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, right?
Yes.
So just telling your kids, and also like, I had done this vision board, and I did it with my kids when they were like 9 and 12, my youngest two. And they didn't really know who I had a heart to serve. And when they did, they were like, Mom, you mean not everyone has essential oils in their home? Like, how do they get better? Right. So sometimes we don't tell our kids our dream, our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And your husband too, like, I think when I first told TJ what I wanted to do, he thought that meant something about him, that he wasn't providing, that I didn't have something that I wanted. And it's like, no, it's nothing physical. It's just purpose. It's like getting out of the house. It's putting mascara on besides Sunday morning. Like, it's all of these things. And I didn't have the self-awareness to be able to explain that very well. So I just got mad at him and was like, you just want me to be home with the kids all the time. So I think teaching your kids, coming out with the fact that you have a job that you're really passionate about, and tell your family what your goal is for it and what that would allow, whether it's financial or time freedom, or if mommy doesn't do this, I would have to go outside of the house and I wouldn't be here when you're home. And just setting those business hours and really expecting, even little kids can see if a door is closed, that it's quiet time and that this is mom's time, and teaching our kids boundaries and that they cannot always have access to us is so important.
That's good.
Just setting that time as sacred, because it will not work unless, I don't know anyone who just has a business or a passion project or a hobby that just happens without being intentional about it happening.
Exactly. Okay. So that was all so good. What do you say to the mom though, that is feeling that itch, like you described? Like, she has that entrepreneurial spirit that wants to pop out of her, but she feels trapped.
Yeah. Well, I think that husbands do not do very good if we don't know what it is. Knowing truly what you want and why is the hardest part. And I would be happy to do a coaching program with you to help you figure that out, if that's the case.
Is that the passion pursuit you're saying?
Yeah. Because a lot of times it's like, well, I just want to do this, or this just makes me so mad and I want to help people with this, but like, how, right? Like, husbands want to know how and how much money are you going to make?
Yeah.
They don't want you just to say, well, yeah, like this person started an Instagram and then they got these followers and then they whatever. Well, how much time is that going to take? So you almost do kind of have to have a plan, and if you don't know that plan, then it's probably not time yet. Or if your kids are demanding, if you have a child who's very difficult and you're needing an escape route, then you probably just need a babysitter and, a time with a girlfriend or a Bible study without kids. And it might not be time for it yet.
Yeah.
But if it is time, getting really clear on what you want to do, and then having really good conversations with your husband about how much time you can take, because you can't start a secret business and always, I was very guilty. I had a podcast in my ear, or YouTube. I don't even know what it was back then. It was before the FDA had silenced us in natural health. So I was soaking up information constantly because we could talk more freely about the diseases and illnesses that plants helped with. And so I was distracted a lot of the time, and that wasn't also fair.
Yes. I'm going to add on top of that. That was all such amazing word there, but I'm going to add on top that before you're clear on it and you have all the details that you're going to present to your husband, that's a conversation between you and God. And it's a very, that's where you get the details. That's where you get the game plan. It's like, God, I'm feeling this. Okay. And he's going to tell you what to know about it. Then he's going to tell you what to do about it. But you have to ask him those questions. I think so often we're like, well, I'm not hearing in prayer, what I should do about X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, what did you ask God? Like, he cares about every single detail. Like, did you ask him? What did you ask him? And if you didn't hear something back, then something's blocking you from hearing his voice. And it's either fear or unforgiveness. And those are the two major ones. And so then you got to talk about that first. And there's these things set up. And once that's so good. Once you're clear, then tell your husband, right? We feel that itch and we're like, now. And it's like, well, wait.
Yes. And even now I've taken another step back. Like, I took a step back and I built a house after TJ died. And then I pushed a little bit. And then I took another step back when I got married and we were building our family together. And then I stepped back in again. Now I've taken a step back because it's going so quickly, and I don't want to be teaching a class at night. I want to be at my kids' lacrosse game. You know, like it's going so fast. I have one biological kid at home, you know, they're like, two of them are gone already. And I had kids young, but come on, it's just not what I signed up for, that kids move out.
Right? No.
Awful.
Yeah. Oh, that makes so much sense. That's amazing. I want you to give a last word of encouragement to the mom who may be in a similar situation of yours and had a really hard something. And I never even said that. I'm so sorry about everything. I'm sorry, but there's no words that can express like what you went through. It was just a really hard thing, but obviously you came out a butterfly and you put in that you put in that work with God and intentional actions to make it happen. And you didn't just woe is me. So good on you. And God's writing a beautiful story because of it. So
thank you.
Talk to the mom who's in that though, who's had something hard happen. And maybe it's not a death. Maybe it's something else. Whatever it is, I also want moms to know your thing, whatever it is, it might not be as severe as the mom next door, and it might not be a death. And that seems like so extreme. But whatever you're going through is hard for you. And that's okay to like realize that and to realize something's derailed here. How do I get back on track? So just one last word of encouragement for that mom who's being derailed, whether it's from a trauma or something else.
Yeah. Well, I think especially if it is like a husband situation, something that helped me so much was that the natural order of things is God kind of protects the husband, protects the wife, and protects the children. Kind of goes in this order. And so when my husband was removed from the equation, God came that much closer. Well, that's the same if it's you lost a parent and you always felt like that parent was that shield around you, or your identity, your job, whatever it is, whatever God removes or is removed from sin and just evil in the world, was not intended to have sin and death. But God's just going to come that much closer to you. And his word is true. And he not only has, whether it's forgiveness or getting over grief or learning to dream again or renewing a relationship, finding forgiveness, whatever that obstacle is the result of, his word will just have that restoration that I talk a lot about, being recharged by that water at the well.
Oh yeah.
Come to refill and to reset and to be restored. That death is dead when it comes to Jesus. He doesn't do funerals. He raises people from the dead. And that's even without a death. If it's something just like unforgiveness or trauma or abuse or whatever it is, he brings dead things to life. And so whatever it is in your life, that he will be able to do that.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not going to add anything or take anything away from that. That was beautiful. And thank you for doing that. Where can people find you and get in touch with you?
So come to the well. It's not the only well website. So if you put in Kari, Kari Davis, Davis, you'll find the Well podcast. TheWellTeam.com is my blog and different coaching programs, different ways to work with me and other coaches that I collaborate with, oil education. And then on Instagram, Kari Davis _the-well. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I will do it for a little bit when I feel like it. And then when I don't feel like it, I don't do it anymore. So
that's great.
I'm on there sometimes.
I have the same relationship. So amazing. Well, yes, go over to the well and check out Kari and all the goodness that she has to share. And she even told you from the beginning that the podcast is taking a new spin and it's going to be so exciting. So head over, check all her other stuff out. I do love your show. And
then maybe Shan and I are going to be doing a retreat together at some point in the future. So
maybe that might be a little sneak peek.
Maybe.
Yes, we have a lot that we should collab on. So thank you so much for being here. It's been
thanks for having me.
Joy.
It was great. Keep doing what you're doing.
You too. Hey, Wellness Warrior. I pray that blessed you. And if so, it would bless me big if you would write a 5-star review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Not only would this make me super happy, but it will allow for others to find this show too. Also, I love to chat over on Instagram, so make sure to take a screenshot, share to your Instagram stories, and tag me at the Shan Wright, so I can see it and we can keep chatting and bring other moms to chat with us. Until we get to chat again, mama friend, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace.